Welcome back to The Baby in the Crib. We are unable to broadcast live tonight, so this show has been pre-recorded. The topic tonight is the dream. Years ago, when the dream was occurring, I had no idea of its actual meaning. Usually, most dreams are different in appearance or theme. Very seldom would you dream the same exact thing over and over again. As I became older, I realized this. It was like a movie clip, the same start, the same finish every single time. But other things were worth noting. The people in the dream, meaning the woman and the baby, never acknowledged me at all, never spoke to me, they never looked at me ever. As many years as I had this dream, I was never part of it. Since the dream repeated itself so often, it became clear that this was some type of a residual energy in the room. Most people can sense this in their waking state. Now, was the energy coming from the room itself, or possibly my furniture? Energy can be absorbed by both. After moving to another location in 1971, that dream never occurred again. So, the same furniture was now in my new home, but did not trigger the dream. That leaves us to believe that the energy was in the room itself. I don't know if you're familiar with the stone tape theory. This theory is based on the suggestion that buildings and materials are able to absorb a form of energy from living beings. Researchers speculate that the recording is laid down during times of high emotional stress, such as murder, grief, or an important scene in someone's life. This energy can be stored for an unspecific amount of time, and the replay is triggered by the witness with the correct attributes. These attributes could include psychic ability. Stress levels or even brain waves seem to set off the recording like a psychic video. The replay can take a form as a full manifestation or even sounds, such as voices or footsteps, and may even be repeated. The theory certainly explains many of the sightings and incidents that occur even today. However, no one knows for sure exactly what the recorded energy really is. The possibility that it could be our natural electric and magnetic fields seems remote, but could it be another undiscovered energy? I myself is what you would consider a sensitive. Actually, I consider myself an occasional sensitive because I cannot will an occurrence. An example is if I stand next to you and you have some type of medical problem, I could pick it up. It usually comes in the form of a feeling or a smell. I don't do well in large crowds either. Everyone's energy coming at me at the same time leaves me walking away with a headache. Now, if the dream was a form of energy, that would explain the reason it stopped once we moved. And it would also explain why I was able to pick it up. Not knowing back then, I probably was able to do it like I am today and just didn't know it. I really wish I could go back and stay in that apartment. I know in my heart I would recall that dream again. I questioned a friend about the energy theory. She agreed that it could very well be, since the dream ends once the woman walks out the front door. Now, if you remember from my previous tape, I described the dream where it starts where the baby is standing in the crib and the woman walks into the room. She dresses the baby. All the baby has on is a t-shirt and I'm guessing a diaper. I really couldn't see the bottom part of them, but the t-shirt you could see. Um, she dresses him, and I say him because I know now it was a him. Um, she dresses him and wraps a blanket around, takes him out of the crib, and walks out of the room through the apartment, out the door of the apartment, down the stairs, all the way down to the first, like not the ground floor, the first floor, and then goes out the front door. And once she goes out the front door, the dream is done. So now my research had begun checking the name of all the residents at that time that lived in the building. In the beginning, I focused just on my apartment, not realizing if, in fact, it was energy, it could have been in any apartment within my building. The interesting thing about my old home, and I didn't know this until this past summer, was the fact that our house has a tunnel under the basement level. And that tunnel runs through all 6 adjoining brownstones where I lived. I questioned my dad about this. He had no idea. He did tell me when they first bought the house, he had a problem with the basement flooding. The plumber came, he couldn't figure out where the water was coming from, and suggested that my dad call the city inspectors and have them come down to take a look at it. And that's what my dad did. He said they did work down there and fixed the problem because the flooding stopped. But they never mentioned to him about the tunnel. Obviously, the city was well aware that that tunnel existed. I had came across articles referring to the many tunnels in Jersey City. And Jersey City at that time wasn't the only one. A lot of the cities had tunnels. A lot of them, I believe, had to do with the slavery back in the 1800s, because Jersey City was known for housing slaves. They would escape from the South and come up, and it seemed that they made their way into Jersey City. From what I read, the city had a lot of like depots that they could go, safe houses where people could go and stay until it was safe to continue on to wherever they were going, to freedom. But everything that I've read, I can't find anything that actually shows my address as being part of a safe house. Now, I don't want to assume where these tunnels lead, but my thinking is that it leads to the train station, which was only a very, very short distance away from where we lived. I hope all of you have enjoyed this audio clip. This one was a short one. Like I said, it was supposed to be on the air tonight, and we're unable to do that. So the first part of it was going to be this, and then questions, and answers and stuff like that. I was even going to have, people call in if they'd like. You can still type a comment or a question on the board, and I will get back to you. Anything to do with all the clips so far. Okay? So stick around. We have much more to come.